Out here, the West ain't just dust and gun smoke, it's blood, betrayal, and legends carved in iron. These are the forgotten tales of outlaws, lawmen, and drifters chasing gold, vengeance, and redemption. Welcome to Dust and Iron Tales. The sun blazed overhead like a relentless iron, scorching the cracked earth surrounding the dry pan, where only the faint shimmer of water remained beneath the scorching glare. At the heart of this wasteland stood a sturdy, rusted gate, guarding the last precious Oasis, its waters shimmering like a mirage yet echoing with lifeless hope. Isabel the gambler, her face etched with calm defiance, carefully arranged her antique wooden chest set on a battered table beside the gate, each piece heavy with history. Her fingers traced the carved kings and queens, knowing this game wasn't just a gamble, it was her shield. Suddenly, a roar of dust announced Oscar's arrival, his boots kicking up a storm of dirt as he stalked toward her, his grizzled face set with hunger and desperation. "Open up," he barked, voice rough like gravel, "while I'll break that lock myself." Isabel met his glare with quiet confidence. "You want this water? Then win it, Haas," she challenged, gesturing to her chessboard. "By playing the game of the lost Oasis." Khan scowled, scoffing at the idea of a game when his herd was dying under his watch. "You think playing chess will save your water? That is just fancy talk." But Isabel's gaze was unwavering. "If you lose, your herd belongs to me," she said softly, "and the water stays locked. If you win," she paused, "the Oasis and its waters are yours." The ranch foreman spat, but under the blistering sun, he nodded, eager to test his brute force against her wit. They sat facing each other, the chess pieces castled on shadows as the sun stared, relentless in the midday sky. Khan stormed aggressive, pushing pawns forward with reckless abandon, each move fueled by desperation and anger. But Isabel anticipated every charge, her pieces moving like desert snakes, subtle and deadly. Her game was a map the quicksand track she dug near the Oasis, cleverly concealed water channels, and hidden pitfalls each mirrored in the layout of her pieces. As I was spilled into a deadly silence, Khan's frustration grew. When he finally saw his king cornered, flushed with rage, he tried to sweep the board aside, knocking over a bishop and glaring wildly. "Enough of this," he snarled, but Isabel's steady hand stopped him. "Checkmate," she whispered softly, pointing at his trap king. "You've forgotten the first rule of surviving the desert's patience and understanding the land's hidden truths." Khan's eyes darkened as realization dawned the game was lost, not by brute strength, but by intellect and knowledge. Shadows lengthened, revealing the intricate outlines of the water traps, defined with startling clarity by the pattern of her chessmen. The chess game had become a mirror of the unforgiving desert, where quick moves and wild power lead to ruin. In defeat, K.S. shoulders sagged as he understood his greed and impulsiveness had been his downfall. His herd, his gear, all of it lost not to violence, but to a masterstroke of wit. The Oasis's waters remained protected, shimmering under the setting sun as Isabel rose from her seat, her expression victorious but serene. In the vast, scorching silence, she proved the greatest strength in the desert isn't physical wits, the sharpness of the mind, and the patience to outthink the lion itself. The sun's relentless gaze bore down, but she remained unmoved, eyes piercing the horizon as if reading secrets hidden beneath the shifting sands. Her breath was steady, each inhale a deliberate act of patience, every exhale blending silently with the whispering winds. The desert seemed to challenge her, waves of heat rippling as if mocking her resolve, yet she sensed the land's subtle signals, an almost imperceptible shift in the dunes, a faint shimmer on the horizon. She knew survival wasn't about brute force, but about understanding the land's language, decoding its silent warnings. Her mind raced through 1,000 possibilities, mapping water sources, shifting her direction with calculated precision. Each step was measured, conserving energy, respecting the lioness' ruthless patience. She remembered stories of those who overestimated the desert's brutality, and she refused to be one of them. As evening approached, shadows lengthened, but her focus only sharpened. Darkness was her ally, hiding her from unseen threats. She kept her ears open for the faintest sounds, the crunch of gravel, a distant bird echo clues that might lead her to shelter or danger. The silence meant more than absence. It was a canvas on which she painted her strategy, each decision a brushstroke of resilience. Her mind occasionally drifted to memories of the lush forest, a stark contrast to this barren expanse, yet here she was, thriving through it in quiet strength. The stars emerged, guiding her like celestial beacons, reminding her that even in the vast emptiness, there was structure and order. With one last careful glance at her surroundings, she adjusted her course, knowing that sometimes the greatest power was to come unwavering clarity beneath the oppressive heat. As the night deepened, she pressed forward, a figure of stillness amid endless motion, certain that her true victory lay in outthinking the lioness silent, unyielding test. Her gaze remained fixed on the horizon, where shadows danced beneath the fading light, unbothered by the chaos around her. Each step she took was deliberate, a quiet defiance against the relentless force of nature that sought to swallow her whole. The wind whispered secrets in her ear, but she listened only for the subtle clues that could tip the balance in her favor. Her mind raced, plotting routes unseen, schemes crafted in the silence between heartbeats. Time seemed to stretch and fold upon itself as she navigated the labyrinth of twisted trees and shifting dunes. She knew that brute strength was useless here. Mastery was born from patience and insight. Every obstacle was a puzzle piece, every sign a whisper from the lion itself, urging her onward. Shadows lengthened and darkened, yet she pressed deeper into the unknown, her logic sharper than ever. Her breath was steady, almost meditative, as she deciphered the cryptic patterns laid out before her. Somewhere within this endless test, victory flickered like a distant star, fragile, yet undeniable. The ground beneath her hummed with ancient energy, urging her to outthink the silence. Fear and doubt tried to creep in, but she pushed them aside, focusing on the subtle cues that others might miss. In that stillness, she felt a strange kinship with the lioness, unyielding patience, knowing her own victory depended on her ability to listen. As darkness closed gaps in the sky, her resolve only hardened, steering her toward the hidden truth she sought. With each calculated move, she proved that her greatest strength was her mind to calm amid chaos. Her pursuit was no longer just survival, but mastery over the impossible, a testament to her unwavering conviction. And so she continued, a silent sentinel in a world that refused to give up its secrets easily. And so she continued, a silent sentinel in a world that refused to give up its secrets easily. Her eyes scanned the horizon, searching for the faintest hint of movement or clues hidden beneath the surface. The wind whispered old whispers through the cracked windows of abandoned buildings, echoing memories of things long past. With each step, her boots disturbed the dust of forgotten stories, stirring echoes of a time when the place was alive. She carried no more than a faded journal and a small locket, relics of a life she barely understood anymore. Shadows played tricks on her mind, shades twisting in the periphery, but she stayed focused, steady and unwavering. Every breath she took was thick with anticipation and unspoken resolve. She knew the answers lay buried beneath layers of time and silence, waiting to be uncovered. As night fell, the glow of distant fires flickered like dying stars, beckoning her onward. Her heart beat in sync with the distant drum of unknown footsteps, perhaps those of others, or perhaps her own echoing back. She paused at the edge of a crumbling wall, peering into the darkness beyond. A faint scent of rain mingled with the scent of old stone, promising renewal or destruction. Clutching her journal tighter, she took a deep breath and stepped into the shadowed unknown again. The world may have refused its secrets easily, but she was determined not to leave without at least trying. Somewhere deep inside her, a flicker of hope refused to die out, no matter how much darkness surrounded her. Silence was thick, yet it was never truly empty, content to keep its secrets a little longer. And so she pressed forward, toward the mystery that teased just beyond her reach. And so she pressed forward, toward the mystery that teased just beyond her reach. The woods around her shifted in shadows, whispering secrets she couldn't quite catch. Each step felt heavy, as if the earth itself wanted to hold her back. She brushed aside tangled vines, her heart pounding with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. Somewhere unseen creatures darted through the underbrush, their presence a faint tremor on the edge of her perception. The fading light cast an amber glowed through the trees, illuminating fragments of ancient symbols etched into bark and stone. She paused, eyes narrowing as she tried to piece together what they signified. A cool breeze stirred, carrying a faint scent of moss and something else, something metallic. The closer she got, the more her instinct screamed that she was nearing something powerful. Suddenly, the ground beneath her foot crunched softly. She froze mid-step. Ahead, a faint glow pulsed rhythmically, as if something alive was waiting just out of sight. Her breath caught, and she fought the urge to turn away, knowing that whatever lay ahead could change everything. The mystery was no longer just a tease, but a promise, whispering her name in the dark. With reluctant resolve, she moved closer, fingertips brushing a cold, rough surface that seemed to hum with energy. The air thickened, charged with anticipation, as she prepared to uncover the truth lurking beyond her imagination. Her fingers trembled slightly as she reached out, the dim glow of the candle flickering against the shadowed walls. Each breath felt heavier than the last, mingling with the pounding of her heart in her ears. With a steadying inhale, she pushed open the ancient lid that sealed the hidden compartment. Inside, dust danced in the faint light, revealing a small, ornate box carved with intricate symbols she had never seen before. Her eyes widened as she hesitated before lifting the lid, half expecting the secrets to burst forth at any moment. A delicate, yellowed parchment lay inside, its edges frayed but its ink surprisingly vivid. She snatched it up, her pulse quickening, and traced the faded words with trembling fingertips. The message was cryptic, a series of riddles and coordinates that beckoned her further into the unknown. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized the truth had been quietly resting beneath her fingertips all along. Steeling herself, she gathered the clues, feeling the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Every instinct urged her to turn back, but curiosity had already set its hook deep within her mind. As she stepped into the corridor beyond, the air grew colder, and an unspoken promise whispered that she was about to uncover something extraordinary. Shadows seemed to flicker at the edges of her vision, hinting at stories long buried waiting patiently to be told. Her heart pounded in anticipation, a mixture of fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins. A faint scent of old parchment and mystery filled the space, fueling her resolve to see this journey through. With each cautious step forward, she felt the boundaries of her world expand, revealing that the truth was never as distant as it seemed. Her fingers grazed the rough bark of a towering oak, feeling its ancient life pulse beneath her touch. Shadows danced around her, casting flickering patterns that seemed almost to whisper secrets from beyond. She paused, breath hitching as a faint glimmer caught her eye, a shard of light breaking through the thick canopy. Curiosity rooted her to the spot, urging her onward despite the lingering fear. Each step carried her deeper into the unknown, where familiar landmarks now appeared transformed, almost surreal. Somewhere ahead, a gentle rustle hinted at movement, but she hesitated, unsure if it was friend or foe. Her heart hammered louder, yet a strange calm settled within her, as if the universe was coaxing her to see what lay beneath the surface. She remembered stories of hidden gateways and revealed truths how what seemed distant or impossible could become clear with patience and courage. The air grew cooler, tinged with the scent of moss and earth, grounding her amidst the shifting shadows. Suddenly, a faint voice echoed faintly, not threatening but inviting, like a lullaby from an old folk tale. She pushed forward, willing to accept whatever truth awaited, even if it challenged everything she believed. The trees around her seemed to lean in, listening, as if they too had been waiting for her to arrive. Her world felt both fragile and infinite at once, a delicate balance of uncertainty and discovery. A narrow opening appeared beyond the thick underbrush, a doorway to something new, something waiting in silence. Her steps quickened, heart pounding with anticipation and a resolute hope. In that moment, she understood that sometimes the journey wasn't here about finding the truth, but about uncovering the layers she'd even been afraid to see. She took a slow breath, feeling the weight of the revelation settle deep within her. The room's shadows seemed to shift, mirroring the shifting landscape of her thoughts. For so long she had clung to certainty, fearing the chaos that might ensue from truth. She realized that even the most tangled knots held stories worth hearing. Her fingertips brushed the edge of an old, faded letter tucked away in her pocket. A fragment of her past she dared not face. With trembling hands, she unfolded it, eyes scanning faded ink that echoed memories long buried.